Still waiting for that perfect golden chance? Wake up! Years have already been wasted chasing comfort zones and daily dollars. AI's not waiting for anyone. It's sprinting ahead of us, faster, smarter, and sharper. In 10 years, it'll eat our jobs, our businesses, and definitely our excuses. Transformation, disruption, domination. Education re-engineered, property tokenized, communities reinvented. This is the decade of survival, and the one real tech is building the blueprint. Want growth? Get in. This is the decade where the average doer vanishes, but the bold ones, they build empires. No dependency, no pity party, no constraints, just freedom to create, to own, to flex, and to live louder than ever. This isn't some sci-fi film. This is now. The new reality, human with machine, vision with ownership. If we are not part of it, we are history. The next 10 years belong to the crazy ones, the doers. Stay in comfort and stay stuck, or get up and own the future. The choice is ours.
Hey, good morning, everybody from Southwest Florida. I'm Dr. Jeffrey 𝒂𝒑𝒂, and to be transparent and upfront, that is an honorary doctorate for advocate on mental and financial well-being and leadership in life transformation. I humbly received in September of 2024. So welcome to season 2026 of Holistic True Wealth. And before I get started, please like, subscribe, as well as share your questions or comments with us from whichever platform, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, you're watching us from today. We'd love to hear from you, and thank you. I'm thrilled to be here with you today. If you don't mind, if you don't know, I am the CEO and founder of Abundance and Optimum Wellness, a certified holistic coach, and your host on this transformative journey. I couldn't be more excited, really about this season, because we have an incredible lineup of guests ready to share insights that can truly change your life, whether it's personal, professional, or a combination of both. And for those who are joining for the very first time, I believe every one of us deserves to live a life of abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially today. And as a certified holistic coach, I take a finance-first approach to achieving all-encompassing personal well-being. And it's really time to rethink, which is what I've been discovering over the last year to 3 years, between 1 and 3 years, what true wealth means in today's world, and explore these new pathways that are right directly in front of us that empower you to thrive in every dimension of life. I'm sure you'll agree we're living in a time of massive transformation, a paradigm shift that's reshaping how we build our futures. And to move forward, we must embrace change and step boldly into the new ways of thinking. My mission goes beyond business. It's about helping globally minded individuals break free from outdated systems and move from financial fatigue to financial freedom. Together, we're creating opportunities, expanding access, and building an inclusive digital world where everyone has a chance to prosper. Because true wealth isn't just about money. It's about having the freedom, the tools, and the mindset to live your best life in a full abundance and optimum wellness. And this season, my guests and I uncover alternative solutions, or solutions that are really working today that people are looking for, that will lead to real transformation, guiding you from barely surviving to thriving again. So before we meet today's special guest, let me take a moment, if I may, to break into another short commercial and share a little bit about my journey, my own personal journey, because it really started in 2018 after leaving corporate America from total burnout, hostile work environments, and also toxic ones. And it has led me onto the path to where I am today. And I'm excited to share our guest in a few seconds here. So we'll be right back with after this short commercial here. back, and I hope you saw a little insight to my own personal journey. Today's guest is someone that every modern leader needs to hear from. Joining us from Atlanta, Georgia is Dr. Stephen Wright. He's an author, inventor, data governance expert who helps business leaders uncover the hidden risks in the data their organizations rely on every single day. And it's not only organizations, but it's entrepreneurs from all aspects. He's written over 50 publications, holds more than 50 patents, and his latest book, Securing Your Data Supply Chain, shines a light on these threats. And I've experienced a lot of these threats. Most people never see coming, like data poisoning, deepfakes, and data suppression. And he has a unique gift for turning complex technical issues into clear, practical insights anyone can understand. So please help me welcome to Holistic True Wealth stage, Dr. Stephen Wright. Welcome, Dr. Stephen.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
It's good to see you and have you on the show today. So before we jump into the questions, share a little bit with the audience who Dr. Stephen is outside of your business.
So I'm married. I'm blessed to have 3 kids who live in the same metropolis as I do, and I enjoy tennis and travel and gardening.
Awesome. That's great. So let's dive in, because I've been excited since we confirmed you were coming onto the show and sharing your expertise. A lot of companies and individuals only notice data problems after something bad has happened. It's happened to me. And can you share a simple story of a time when bad data or wrong data caused real trouble for a business, and what did you do to help them?
So a simple example, and there's several in this vein. This is one from this year. There was a finance director at a multinational firm in Singapore who just joined a routine Zoom call where every participant was a deepfake. The criminals used AI-generated video and audio to impersonate the CFO and other senior leadership. And believing the request was legitimate, the director authorized a fraudulent fund transfer. It resulted in damages of around $500,000. And wow. These have been on the rise over the last couple of years. There's been several incidents where these deepfakes are causing real damage to a number of different businesses in several different countries. So how to deal with this is you need to have governance processes and controls in place to mitigate these kinds of events. You've got to be aware of them in the first place, and then you can have some controls.
So what did you do? What did you do to help them in regards to putting these controls into place?
What I do is I help companies revamp their data governance procedures. So if they don't have data governance procedures, I help them get something in place. If they've got some, then I help them work through some of these emerging risks like deepfakes, data poisoning, data suppression. And that general process works through evaluating the risk and then trying to design procedures that make sense for them, for their scale of operations, their environment, and so forth.
Oh, that's awesome. So being an ex-software engineer 27 years, the world has changed with technology, and there are pros and cons for AI. And I'm in discussions right now with some other colleagues. People don't like it. People like it. There are advantages, disadvantages. And yeah, I use AI. I have my own AI clone, which you'll see, in a commercial today. So I think it's, those of us who have integrity want to go out there and utilize the technologies that are changing the world right now for the future, and just kind of embrace these new changes. Because when people advertise back in the day before computers, it was in newspapers, then it was on the internet, and now it's through AI. So it's a matter of how you utilize these tools with full transparency and integrity. So maybe that's another discussion for another show that I'll have to talk to you more about. But yeah, it's been a very interesting year to 2 years with this AI. So let's go on to the next question here about, many leaders think we have passwords and firewalls that are supposed to keep us safe, but they really don't. So how would you explain in very simple terms why protecting the data itself is different from just protecting the company, the computers it lives on?
Okay, so several different points here. So protecting systems is a good thing, but it's not the same as protecting data. And it's a big if your systems have any data validation at all, it's most likely just on the syntax and not on the semantics of the data. You're not checking whether the data is true or correct. You're just checking if it's coming in the right format. And I guess a consequence of the good news, there's a lot of companies that have cybersecurity programs that do harden their systems, and people have gotten a lot better at that over recent years. But the consequences are that the attackers realize that easier targets lie further up the protocol stack. Think phishing and social engineering that just bypass all of the passwords on your systems. And so things like deepfakes and data suppression really target the data driving your strategic decision-making in your firm. So the systems don't really apply to this data because often this data is coming externally. It's not being pulled out of your internal systems. It's your worldview of what's happening in the industry, what's happening in technology. It's not a automated data collection from your operations processes. And so things like data poisoning as well. Data poisoning actually occurs in an upstream software vendor. It's essentially creating a zero-day attack into your systems. So your passwords and systems don't really protect you. Well, they don't protect your vendor's software systems either.
True. Yeah.
So these emerging threats are becoming more serious. They're becoming easier to generate, again, thanks to AI. And so building awareness around these and then figuring out how to mitigate them is becoming a more important topic.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, being somebody who has had their identity stolen and their accounts breached, stolen passwords. And I think that these companies like Google and others, Facebook, they capture every single keystroke that you do, and they're utilizing that data, which is unfortunately because that's how these hackers get in and pull your passwords, your logins, your username, so forth and so on, which me personally, it should be against the law. It should be a criminal act. So I think there's more, being educated with the consumer about that, to take precautionary steps with regards to properly setting up their Facebook and their Google. I'll say just for those two at this particular point, because that's where my data was stolen. And I think that somebody who is of the mindset of being able to create something for the public that be updated on a regular basis to indicate to these people, hey, you're being hit, you're being scammed, you're being whatever the case may be, to warn them, because there are just so many different avenues coming into your computer or into a corporation's site by breaching these firewalls, which they're not really working. What firewall really works out there are those questions. So with that, we're going to take a quick, short commercial break, and this talks about AI, and this is my AI-generated cologne, and we'll be right back with Dr. Steven.
Hi, many of us have realized the AI journey has officially begun, and those of us who've been exploring this shift early are realizing something important. We're not late, we're incredibly early. This technology is still in its infancy stages, yet it's already growing at an exponential rate. Here is the truth. Those who don't build even a basic foundation in artificial intelligence will be left behind as this acceleration continues. This isn't the future, it's the starting line, and we're just getting started. Do you agree with me?
So Yeah. So do you agree? Hey, I'll have you answer that. Do you agree with me, Dr. Stephen?
Yes, I think it's still very early days in AI, and that's good news and bad news.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people are overreacting to things that may not be around even 6 months from now.
Exactly.
Because the tools are changing that rapidly. The best advice I would give to everybody on the AI topic is every time they hear the word AI, just mentally replace it with software.
Right.
And that resets your mind, because there's so much baggage around AI personification that will cause you no end of problems. It's just a software system that may or may not do what it's intended to do, and all of the normal software rules still apply.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely correct. And this is, again, we're in the beginning stages of AI. When I talk to people, I say, think about decades ago when Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon introduced their technologies. It was revolutionary back then. And look at where we are today. We're in the same spot today, but with blockchain technologies, AI, real estate tech, financial tech, educational tech, so forth and so on. So it's a work in progress, if you will, and a definite work in progress. And I think back to the days when I started in the industry where you had a floppy disk to boot up your computer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at where we are today. But I want to talk a little bit about your book, because and use some of these words that. You did mention, like the data poisoning, the deep fakes, the data suppression. If you were explaining this to a teenager, how would you describe each of these entities in 1 or 2 sentences, and why they matter in everyday life, especially today?
Okay, so let's start with deepfakes, because that's probably the one that's most familiar to folks. So deepfakes are basically a lie, or a misrepresentation at the very least. What's different about them is that rather than being a lie to your face, these are typically in the form of images, video, audio, where we humans are not culturally habituated to being lied to. You're used to trusting what you see with your own 2 eyes and what you hear with your ears. And hearing something artificial is not a natural thing. We've had thousands of years to learn to trust our eyes and ears, and now we're having to change that. The next one, data suppression. Let me start this way. Where deepfakes add false data into your data supply chain, data suppression does the opposite. It removes valid data, so you're not getting the news that you want to get. You're not getting the information you're expecting to get, or the information you're getting has gaps in it that aren't easily explained. And so why does this matter? Well, if you're relying on search results from Google to determine what's popular or what's available in the market, you should be aware that there are some folks that spend a lot of money to move their name up in those search results, or down, depending on whether it's good news or bad news. And there can be legitimate reasons for doing this, where if you have if you're a politician and you have the same unfortunate name as a sex offender who lives down the street, you might want to do something to distinguish that. But there can be much more malicious applications of this, and the tooling to generate this is becoming, unfortunately, more easier to access. Data poisoning is doing this 1 stage removed. So your target is an upstream vendor. You're corrupting their systems. So if your upstream vendor is an AI system supplier, and for most of us, we're getting our AI systems from somebody else. If their systems get targeted, if their data is corrupted and they train their AI on something that's missing data or full of deepfakes, then by the time it gets to you, it's very hard to deal with, because how do you detect that your vendor had this problem in their upstream data?
Right.
And so that becomes a real challenge. That's, again, a little harder to do. Most of the bigger players in the AI space have so at least some degree of protections in place about their training data sources. But there are nation state actors in this field, and there are people who are trying to be quick to market with their AI enhanced tools that
Right.
run into the same kind of consequences. So that's at least the short definitions of those three things.
No, that's great. A great explanation. Do you have? I apologize. I thought I put your book in a slide here, and I don't have it. Do you have a copy right in front of you or close by that you can show and tell the audience where they can get the copy, which is titled "Securing Your Data Supply Chain," which is one of the 50 publications that he's done. So. Go ahead.
So I will put it in the chat, and you can put it on the meeting notice.
Okay.
But the book's available on Amazon. I'm not going to try and read the URL or anything.
Yeah, no, they can search for the title.
Yeah, if you search for the title, or if you search for me as the author, Dr. Stephen A. Wright, it should come up. And the title again is Securing Your Data Supply Chain, a practical guide to data governance in the digital age.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And as we're talking here, what I'm going to do too is at the bottom of the screen, you can get in touch with find Dr. Stephen on LinkedIn and see what he is sharing with the community out there. So, kind of wrapping up here, you've written a lot of papers, have dozens of patents, and have really worked in different countries, which is truly amazing. What is one big lesson from all that experience that you've obtained that a non-technical business owner should know about keeping their data safe?
Well, I think it comes down to critical thinking. The old, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But as the attacks become more subtle and unexpected, you need to put systems and processes in place, both to help you cross-check the information you're receiving and to ensure that others receiving information from you can be assured that it's authentic. And so, it's the information in and the information out. How do you know that it's real?
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And I started in 2015 doing my own due diligence because I was always that whatever they say, the government, the media, the this, the that, is gospel truth, and obviously that is not the truth, and there are a lot of scammers out there. So I've started to do, to the best of my ability, due diligence. When I see something, I question it. It's good to ask questions. So that's what I'm doing. So what is one piece of advice that you could give our viewers today that is looking for, that one nugget that can help them either personally, professionally, or both? What would that be to get them to the next level in their life?
Really, it comes down to basic critical thinking and risk management. Be aware that these kinds of deepfakes, data suppression, data poisoning attacks exist. Think about the impact on your business if you were to be deceived, and adjust your processes accordingly. If when you're looking at your data, where you get your data from, everybody wants to be economical and be cheap about where they get their information. But the old adage, if you're not paying for it, you're the product. So think about how that applies. And even if you are paying for the information you're getting, do you have any assurances of recourse if there are errors in the data? What's the provenance of the data?
Yeah, because there's so much bad data out there, for sure. For sure. Well, thanks for that little nugget there. And as we're wrapping up here, my experience as an ex-software engineer, I was approached to in 2009, being that digital currency strategist today. Back in 2009, I was given the opportunity to purchase 500 Bitcoin at 0.0017 cents. That's an 85-cent investment. My response, nah, sounds like a scam. And today, Bitcoin has been valued as high as $130,000 per coin. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, we are in a paradigm shift. And if you're open to looking at the possibility of getting in on the ground floor with some of the amazing projects that I'm involved with, then yeah, let's have a conversation. Because remember, it's always about the early bird gets the biggest worms. And as I mentioned to Dr. Stephen a little bit earlier here, think about decades ago with Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon. They revolutionized the world of technology from their introductions, and that's where we are today. Blockchain is here; it's going to stay, and all of the amazing uses from real estate tech, financial tech, educational tech, artificial intelligence, and the metaverse. These are technologies that are currently being developed, and don't be one of the ones that will be saying, "Darn, I wish I had only listened to Jeff 5 years or 10 years ago." So I do 2 monthly webinars. Scan the QR code. I will also put it in the comments for those that are interested. And again, holistic true wealth is about balance and harmony across all disciplines that I embrace and I teach. It's about creating a life that is rich in experiences, relationships, and knowledge and purpose. And Dr. Stephen brought some really great insight too today about protecting your own data. And by embracing this holistic approach, we can achieve a state of well-being that is sustainable and fulfilling, leading us to live our best lives. So with that, we're going to sign out. Thank you, Doctor. And I'm going to also bring up this. My next guest is Nicole Borghi, and she is the virtual she is the virtual queen for events, so forth and so on. And she's going to have a lot of information to share for business owners who are out there looking to spread their wisdom and knowledge. And we'll see you the next time on the True Holistic, the True Wealth show here. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you, Dr. Stephen.
Hi, it's Jeff, your digital currency strategist. What if technology wasn't just something you used, but something you experienced? Welcome to the world of real tech, fintech, edtech, AI, and the metaverse, designed with intention. We're building 5 digital continents, each with its own unique user experience. 2 are already live and the others are coming soon. This isn't hype. This is infrastructure, your education or ownership. Stay tuned, because I'll be taking you inside the Meta, 1ILM-versity, and our Zanzibar Hotel and Resorts property, where innovation meets real-world impact. The future isn't coming. It's being built right now. Won't you join us?